millionaire is shocked when a black homeless woman uses hidden talent to save deal. Henry Caldwell paced the bustling streets of downtown Chicago, his expensive shoes barely touching the cracked, grimy pavement. The city roared around him, horns blaring, chatter slicing through the air, footsteps pounding like a relentless heartbeat. His sharp suit and cold eyes stood out like a beacon. But inside, his chest tightened with a pressure he couldn't shake. Today was everything. A deal this big could catapult his career into untouchable heights. The stakes clawed at his nerves. Then, amid the chaos, he noticed something. A splash of color on a gray, forgotten wall near the subway exit. A mural, vivid, alive, fierce. And the artist? A woman, her skin kissed by stubborn sun rays, clothes ragged and stained with paint, sitting on an overturned crate. Her fingers moved fast, sweeping powerful strokes that seemed to scream stories no one else had the guts to tell. Henry's breath hicked, but Henry couldn't look away. The lump in his throat grew heavy as a crowd began to stir, captivated now too. Suddenly, the sharp clack of city officials' boots shattered the moment. Stern faces, uniforms cracking down on her work. "You can't paint here. It's vandalism," one barked, pointing at the merciless white, doesn't bleed off paint ragging over her masterpiece. Maya's jaw tightened, her hands trembling but defiant. Her mural was a thunderstorm, not just colors, a manifesto on brick. Henry's mind raced. This mural was more than street art. It was life and fire. And if it vanished, so might his spark to seal his deal. Every cell in him screamed to interfere, to protect this vulnerable flame in front of a cold, uncaring system. Could her raw talent rescue his fraying hopes? But just as Henry stepped forward, ready to fight, a whisper rippled through the crowd. Something about Maya's past. A hidden secret. Dark and tangled. Henry's heart hammered. A mix of dread and confusion strangled him. Could this woman, her talent glowing like rare gold on cracked stone, really have a past that threatened everything? Would helping her shatter the pristine image he spent years building? Could her world and his ever truly connect? The air thickened with tension as Henry weighed his choice. The deal, the mural, Maya's secret, they were all tangled like the Chicago streets, winding into something dangerous, thrilling, unknown. His hands clenched. The city held its breath. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube has removed their subscriptions without warning. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss out on any exclusive content coming your way. And while you're there, leave that powerful like that. Helps me a lot with the algorithm. Oh, your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. Henry's hands clenched tighter as city officials advanced. Hearts raced, breaths fogged with uncertainty. Maya's fierce mural hung in the balance, a vibrant heartbeat in a world that seemed hell-bent on silence. "Wait!" Henry yelled, stepping toward the officials. The crowd's murmurs swelled, curiosity piqued. Would he really intervene for this woman he barely knew? But before he could form another thought, chaos erupted. A loud crack sliced through the air. Henry's heart dropped. An explosion? No, not the sound of chaos from above, but a shockwave that rolled through the ground. It reverberated through the concrete like an earthquake, sending nearby pedestrians tumbling, gasping. He turned, eyes wide, searching for the source. The subway entrance. Debris cascaded down in a shower of dust and panic. The crowd's energy shifted from focused curiosity to raw fear. Henry stumbled back, the adrenaline rushing through him, his heart thundering like it was about to burst. "Maya!" he shouted, looking for her. But a cloud of smoke curled around him, swallowing everything. People around him shouted, shrieked, and stumbled back. The world turned frantic for a split second. Henry's vision blurred, and just like that, Maya was gone. Then, from the billowing smoke emerged a figure, a shadow against the chaos. It was Maya. But something was off. She was no longer holding her paintbrush. Instead, she bore an uncanny expression, one of rage, deep pain, and recognition. "Get away from her!" she screamed, her voice slicing through the chaos. But who? Who was she talking to? The officials? The crowd? The walls trembled as she stepped forward, revealing something gleaming in her hands. A small, glinting device. A bomb? Panic raced through Henry. Every muscle in his body went rigid, icy fear coursing through his veins. "Stop! Put that down!" one of the officials yelled, hands raised. The crowd surged backward, shifting like the tide, a wave of terrified faces. But the moment stretched unnaturally. Something clicked in Maya's eyes. She wasn't just a homeless artist lost in the system. No, this was something deeper, darker. She aimed the device at the mural. Suddenly, it was clear. This was no mere act of vandalism. This was a statement, a declaration of war. "You don't understand!" she screamed, and her voice thundered. "They've silenced us for too long." Henry's heart pounded as realization sank in. This was the woman catching fire in the city's shadow. But there was more. Something crucial he didn't know. His mind raced, piecing together fragments that never fit before. What had she been running from? What dark secret lingered beneath the surface of her murals? The officials drew closer, crouching into tactical stances, radioing for backup. Each heartbeat echoed louder than before. He had to act, to protect her, to save her from what she was spiraling into. "Maya, please!" he called, desperation clawing at his throat. "Let's talk!" But her eyes met his, piercing, haunted, and full of something that could ignite the very world they stood in. In that moment, the walls began to tremble again, not from an explosion, but from an unspoken truth hanging heavy in the air. A siren wailed in the distance. The city was about to come crashing down. All his dreams, his deal, his ideals, everything hung by a thread. The crowd stood frozen, breathless, sharing the weight of this pivotal moment. Then it happened. Maya's finger flicked the device, a detonation given form. Henry felt time shift, stretching, as he recognized the gravity of the choice before him. Would he reach for her and risk it all, or step back into safety? The answer felt as fleeting as the smoke swirling around them. And the chaos, the uncertainty, they were just beginning. Maya's finger hovered, the device a glinting breath of chaos. Time stretched, taunting. The crowd held its breath, fear palpable in the air. Henry's heart thundered, an echo of his choices, his purpose. "Think!" he shouted, desperately. "You don't have to do this!" But Maya's eyes blazed with something fierce and unyielding. "They don't get it! They'll paint over us! This is our story! Her voice surged like a tsunami, sweeping through the crowd. Just then a figure surged into the chaos. A woman clad in a sharp, tailored suit pushed past the panicked bystanders. Her hair framed her intense gaze, and she cried out, "Maya, stop!" Henry squinted through the haze, his heart picking up speed. He recognized the woman, Samantha, his mentor, the one who had brought him into this cutthroat world of finance. She'd always been the epitome of power and control, running her own empire. But her presence here felt like an anchor in the storm. Why was she here? "Maya!" Samantha pleaded, stepping closer, her voice softer now. "Put it down. We can talk about this. Just breathe." For a moment, Maya wavered, confusion flooding her eyes. But then the air shifted. A heavy thud resonated behind Samantha, shaking the ground. Everyone turned, faces scrunching in horror. A van screeched to a halt nearby, its doors flying open. Black-clad figures spilled out. Agents! Or perhaps thugs? "Maya, get away!" Henry shouted, his voice lost in the rising din. The crowd recoiled, a sea of terrified faces crumbling under the sudden influx of danger. Maya stiffened, the device trembling in her hands as she seemed to recognize the threat. "No, not them!" she shouted, her voice cracking with real fear. Samantha stepped forward, her gaze locked on Maya, empathy woven into her words. "They've been looking for you. You don't have to fight this alone." Maya's expression hardened. "You don't know anything!" she screamed, her voice pulling back like a coiled spring. She pressed the device firmly, eyes wide with defiance, ready to upend everything. "What are you saying?" Samantha's voice dipped, jagged now. "You think I don't understand what you've been through? I knew you were in trouble. I came to help." And just like that, a lightning bolt struck. Maya's world and Henry's collided. "Help?" Maya spit out, her voice dripping with venom. "You put me in this position. No one wants my story. You just want control." Henry felt the ground shift beneath him. Was there more to this? Samantha's enigmatic past flashed through his mind. "What do you mean?" he called, panic lacing his words as he searched their faces. Then, the unthinkable happened. As Maya's finger tightened around the device, the crowd stilled. A voice pierced through the chaos, deep and resonant, echoing from the van. "Maya, you don't have to do this. We can protect you." But it wasn't just any voice. It was the sound of someone from her past, someone Henry could barely comprehend. "Your father wants you back." "What?" Henry's stomach dropped. The very ground seemed to vanish beneath him. What father? Who was this man? Maya's eyes flashed with panic and confusion, a crack in the facade as it crumbled. Samantha was visibly shaken, a flicker of fear darting across her face. "No, it can't be," she whispered, stepping back, her color draining. Maya's shoulders sagged, uncertainty cutting through her rage. The device trembled. What do you mean?" The crowd gasped, whispers whirring, confusion enveloping them like a thick fog. What dark family secret loomed over this moment? Was everything they thought they knew about Maya a lie? Henry's mind raced. How could this be happening? Everything he believed, every part of this struggle, was about to explode. "What have you been hiding?" he breathed, eyes darting between Maya and Samantha. The truth lay just beyond reach, circling them like vultures waiting for a kill. The device flickered, Maya wavering, caught between the past And now, the chaos surged, and the city around them faded, suspended in an uncertain moment, waiting to see whose story would be told next. Maya's finger trembled over the device, the weight of the moment pressing down on them all. She was a galaxy of emotions, swirling darkness pulling her into an abyss. The crowd, frozen in place, felt small beneath the rising tide of fear. "What do you mean my father wants me back?" she gasped, the tremor in her voice revealing the crack in her bravado. The loud voice from the van echoed again, cutting through the fog of confusion. "Maya, it's not what you think. Your father's been looking for you to protect you. You're in danger!" Henry's heart jolted. The chaos morphed. Suddenly, everything hung in the balance. Had she been running from danger all this time? Was Samantha part of it? He pushed through panic. "What kind of danger?" he shouted. But the man in the van had vanished, his words hovering like smoke. Then, Samantha's eyes widened. Horror etched across her features. "No, it can't be him! What has he done?" Her voice quivered, crumbling beneath the weight of recognition. She turned, eyes darting as shadows loomed closer from the van. Agents? Thugs? Who were they really? Maya's grip faltered. The device slipped, clattering to the ground. The sound seemed deafening amidst the storm. "What's going on? Who's in that van?" But then came a laugh, low, chilling, reverberating from the van. A tall figure emerged, a smirk playing on his lips. Henry squinted, heartbeat rising. It was a face he did not recognize, but felt unnervingly familiar. A ghost from someone's past. Now, my dear Maya," he drawled, voice silky and smooth. "You think you can escape your legacy? Your father wants you back, not just to protect you, but to reignite what was lost." Gasps echoed around them. A whisper ricocheted through the crowd. "What legacy?" Maya's eyes darkened, rage and fear swirling together. "Shut up! I'm nothing more than a ghost to him!" Her fists clenched, but her voice was breaking, every word a cry for strength. "Ghosts are powerful." The man leaned forward, glinting eyes striking like a knife. "And you, dear, are the key to the vault of memories he built, and the darkness he hides." Henry's mind raced. The stakes were spiraling. Memories? What the hell was he talking about? "Maya, wait!" he called, desperation clawing at him. "What does he mean?" Before Maya could answer, the man lunged forward, grabbing her wrist, eyes filled with confidence. "You'll understand soon enough." "Maya!" Henry yelled, his heart drumming in his chest. "Fight him!" Suddenly, a siren blared louder, drowning out the chaos. "Florence!" The crowd's mumbles intensified. The tension snapped. Someone screamed, the palpable fear pulsing through the air. In that fraction of a second, a flash, a blinding light filled the street. A figure erupted from the shadows. It was a woman. Not just any woman, but a face Henry almost couldn't place. She was draped in a long coat, glimmering against the chaos. "Release her!" she shouted, her voice like a crack of thunder. Shockwave rippled through everyone present, and the world seemed to straighten. The man turned, surprise written all over his face. "Maya, it's time to come home." Time splintered. Henry felt the ground flip. The truth he didn't know began unraveling, pulling threads from every whispered conversation and hidden glance. Maya's face twisted, conflict gnawing at her. Had she been more than just an artist or a homeless woman fighting for her voice? What did all of this mean? "Maya!" Henry's voice broke again, desperate, uncertain. Please! The figure in the coat stepped closer, fierce eyes locked onto Maya. He's not here to save you. He's here to claim what's his. Maya's expression flickered between resolve and despair. The whole day, the struggle, everything spun like the city's noise. But as the blinding light faded, the truth behind the lies closed in, sticking close like fog. The crowd watched, breath held, as Maya's world began to fracture, revealing connections that could burn bright or shatter entirely. And for the first time, Henry felt a consuming dread, a tangled web of alliances and betrayal. What would happen next? What truths were about to burst into light? And would it change everything they ever thought they knew? Maya's hand dropped, the device clattering to the ground. The crowd exhaled, as if the air had thickened to suffocation. The tall figure in the coat stepped closer, fierce eyes locked onto Maya. He's not here to save you. He's here to claim what's his. Time stretched. The weight of tension pressed down like a heavy fog, soft gasps mingling with the distant wail of sirens. Maya's breath came in shallow bursts, confusion flickering across her face, battling with remnants of rage. "What do you mean?" she whispered. The man grinned, an unsettling gleam behind his words. "What legacy, you ask? Your father's legacy. Everything you're fighting for is part of something bigger than just you." "What are you even talking about?" Maya's voice cracked, the anger fading, revealing a tremor of fear. Suddenly, she stepped back, colliding with Henry, who instinctively reached out to steady her. When their eyes met, a flicker of something deeper ignited, an understanding of their tangled fates. But the moment shattered as another figure emerged from the van. This one was smaller, cloaked in a hoodie, face hidden. She moved swiftly, weaving through the gathering chaos before approaching Maya directly. "Maya!" the figure shouted, breathless with urgency. "You need to come with me. They're here. They know." Maya's eyes widened, fear pulling taut across her features. "Who are you?" "It doesn't matter," the figure insisted, voice nearly cracking. "We need to move now. It's not safe." The crowd shifted, whispers swirling like leaves caught in a storm. As the new figure reached out for Maya, a sudden pop echoed through the air, like the sound of a balloon bursting. The crowd gasped collectively, urgency exploding around them. Henry's heart dropped. He had seen that look before, the flickering fear morphing into panic. Then it happened. An unmarked black SUV screeched up from around the corner, tires screeching, windows tinted dark. In an instant, the figure in the coat lunged backward, eyes wide with realization. The door swung open and armored agents spilled out. "Get down!" someone shouted, breaking the bubble of confusion. But it was too late. A deafening series of rapid pops filled the air, bullets striking the ground, kicking up debris. The huddled crowd erupted into shouts and cries, scrambling for safety. Maya was yanked away by the hooded figure, dragging her toward an alley as panic surged like an electric current. "Maya, no!" Henry shouted, gripping her wrist, but she was already disappearing, pulled into the shadows. He felt the tug painfully, the reality crashing down like a wave. Could he follow? Samantha stepped forward, determination etched on her face. "Stay back! We need to regroup!" she yelled to Henry, who felt himself torn between hope and chaos. But then, through the chaos came an unexpected sound, a voice, booming and gleeful. "Ah, but you'd think you could hide from your past, wouldn't you?" The figure in the coat laughed, a low and menacing sound. Everything froze. Maya's father? No, it couldn't be. Shouldn't be. Here was this dark connection they had only started to scratch at, and now it unraveled violently before them. The hooded figure, shadowed in fear, turned slightly toward the man before snapping back to Maya. "You're stronger than this. Just trust me." But something in her tone clawed at the edges of truth. "Maya!" Henry screamed again, panic edging his voice closer to desperation. "What is going on?" A sudden snap of gunfire echoed again, shattering the moment. The crowd scattered further, chaos swallowing them whole as the danger widened. Uncertainty crackled like electricity. Then, an odd sound, laughter, permeated the tension, wry and mocking. Henry's heart sank as he realized the figure was not just an enemy, but someone from Maya's past. Someone she had tried to escape, a connection that rattled every romantic notion he had been clinging to. "Isn't it funny?" the man drawled, eyes gleaming with menace. "All this time, you thought you could outrun your blood, but blood always calls." The tension snapped like a frayed rope, and suddenly, Henry was left standing at the edge of a storm, barely grasping the depth of betrayal swirling before him. He had thought he knew Maya. He had seen her as a symbol of resilience, an artist finding her voice. But now, in the twisted shadows of the unfolding truth, who she really was began to vanish like the smoke around them. "Wait!" he shouted into the chaos, but everything evolved too rapidly. His world tilted, expectations fractured. No answer, only fear, only uncertainty. And within that flicker, hope glimmered, a fragile thing, caught in the tempest, quivering on the edge of the unknown. What had he awakened? What secrets would claw their way into the open? The chaos churned around them, the air thick with fear and confusion. Henry stood there, heart racing. Maya was dragged into the shadows by the hooded figure. He had to do something. "Maya!" he screamed, desperation clawing at his throat. But as he moved, a sharp crack echoed, a shot fired. The crowd gasped collectively, scattering like leaves in a storm. Panic blurred Henry's vision as he searched further. Then he saw it. The tall figure, the one who had laughed, reached for the device on the ground. A moment so fleeting, yet everything changed. "This isn't just about you, Maya," he snarled, lifting it slowly, deliberately. "Your blood means something. It always has." Henry stumbled backward, heart pounding louder than the chaos. "What does that mean?" he shouted. "What are you saying?" The figure's eyes gleamed, darkness creeping into his voice. "You think you know her? You don't know who she is, what she's capable of." Maya hesitated at the sound of his words. Conflict twisted her features. "Stop! Just stop!" she cried, emotions battling within her. Then, out of nowhere, a hand shot out from the crowd. A woman, bold and assertive, stepped forward, her voice steady amid the uproar. "Enough!" Henry squinted to see her face, a flash of recognition igniting in his chest. It was Emma, Maya's long-lost sister. He had seen her in the photographs, part of the tragic story of their family, a connection they had believed severed long ago. "Emma!" Maya gasped, disbelief lacing her tone. You shouldn't be here." The world slowed around them. Henry's breath caught. Emma's presence unraveled more than he had anticipated. "I had to come," she said, stepping closer. "I thought you were dead. They're coming for you." Maya's face shimmered with confusion, memories dark and tangled. "Who?" "Your father," Emma's voice trembled. "He's not just a businessman, Maya. He's part of something bigger, a syndicate, and they'll stop at nothing to control you." Shock crashed over Henry. This was a game changer. The elegant world of finance, the darkness swirling beneath it, all connected. "No," he murmured. "Are you saying he's involved in... in crime?" "Yes," Emma insisted, eyes fierce. "You're not just an artist to him. You're a pawn in his twisted game, and they want to control the power within you." Maya recoiled, guilt flooding her features. "You're lying. He loved me. He was always there." The figure in the coat sneered, reveling in the turmoil. "Ah, love, is it? A pretty word, a trap. Don't you see, Maya? You're his most prized possession." Around them, the crowd murmured, voices rising in a collective swell of disbelief. Faces, once curious, now wore expressions of horror. Every secret peeled back, exposing raw nerves. "What do you mean, power?" Maya's voice quivered, tremors darting through her. "What could I possibly hold?" The man laughed, mirth cold and cruel. "The talent, the fire. What you've created could ignite a revolution, but only if you're willing to let him in." Maya's body tensed, questions spiraling in her mind. Ignite a revolution? Why would he want that? But before he could respond, another gunshot rang out. Henry's heart dropped as the figure in the coat staggered backward, eyes wide, shock written across his face. Blood blossomed on his shirt, crimson against darkness. The crowd gasped, a collective inhale, realizing they had lost control of the chaos. "Maya!" he cried, instinctively shielding her with his body. But the damage was done. The threads of their reality twisted sharply. "Maya!" Emma urged, eyes darting towards the rowdy street, filled with chaos and fear. "We need to leave! Now! They'll kill us all!" Maya's expression shifted, determination blooming. "We'll confront this, together." But the words felt fragile, clinging to a dangerous hope amidst the storm. Everything they believed had just rearranged, roots dark and twisted as the night. Would they truly be strong enough to face the storm ahead? And above all, who among them could be trusted now? Maya stood frozen, her breath shallow and unsteady. The shadows pressed in around her, uncertainty curling like smoke. Emma's eyes flashed with urgency as the echoes of chaos began to fade. "Maya, we need to move." But the crush of truth felt like a lead weight pulling her under. "Not until I understand," Maya shot back, the fire in her voice clashing with the trembling fear in her heart. She glanced at Henry, who looked on, wide-eyed and desperately trying to piece together this puzzle, shock etched on his face. "Emma, why are you here?" Maya whispered, her voice trembling, confusion overlapping with anger. You should have stayed hidden. Because I thought I lost you. Emma's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. But you need to trust me now. He's not just your father. He's the reason you're in danger. Maya's heart pounded against her ribs. She wanted to scream, to dismiss the entire situation as madness. But before she could respond, the figure in the coat lunged, trying to snatch the device from the ground. Laughter, thick with malevolence. Fighting destiny is futile, Maya. Get away from her, Henry shouted, stepping forward. But the man was quick, twisting to face Emma, a new target now. And you think you can protect her? His voice dripped with mockery. At that moment, the air thickened as if the city held its breath. Gunfire erupted again, sharp reports ripping through the din, and the crowd recoiled in panic. A figure darted from the alleyway, colliding with the man in the coat, sending them both tumbling to the ground. It was a tall man, clad in dark clothing, moving with ferocity, gliding like a shadow. Get out of here, he yelled to Maya and Emma, fists clenched. I'll hold them off. As confusion swirled, Henry felt dread creeping up his spine. Who was this man? Was he friend or foe? But there was no time to ponder. More agents spilled out of the van, glaring with cold intensity, weapons drawn. Stay back, one shouted, crowding in like a storm, eyes darting across faces, looking for Maya. Each movement felt like a heartbeat echoing through an inescapable void. Maya, we need to go, Emma begged, pulling her sister toward the alley. But just as they turned, another sound sliced through the chaos. A deafening roar. A truck barreled down the street, tires screeching, and barreled straight through the chaotic scene. There was a moment of sheer disbelief before it crashed into the mob of agents. Then it happened. A blinding flash erupted from the back of the truck. It lit the scene like day, illuminating fear, anger, desperation, before darkness swallowed it whole. Time halted. Henry shielded his eyes, the sound of shattering glass and screams flooding his ears. The shockwave hit him like a punch, knocking him to the pavement. He gasped, air caught in his throat. His surroundings exploded into chaos. Flashes of light, dark forms splintering into shadows. When he blinked, everything changed. The chaotic echoes of panic faded to chilling silence. Smoke swirled in the air, coating everything. Then, in the stillness, a figure emerged from the haze. A battered woman, hair wild, streaks of soot marking her cheeks. The world slowed. Maya's breath hitched. "Who?" she whispered, recognition clawing at her. The woman stepped closer, eyes glowing with a fierce light. "I'm sorry. It's time for the truth." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Henry turned, confusion twisting into horror. As the woman's face emerged from the shadows, Lucia, Maya's mother, the lost legacy, the ghost of their past. "Maya, I've been searching for you." Her voice trembled, frayed at the edges, laced with urgency. "Your father? He's been lying." And just like that, Henry's world tilted again. Revelations cut deeper than any gunfire. Maya's father, the titan of industry, now revealed as a puppet master in a web of secrets. "Liar!" Maya screamed, tears brimming. "You were supposed to be dead. Ma! Lucia's voice cracked with desperation. I never left you! I had to hide! The atmosphere shifted. With each revelation, relationships unfurled, threads snapping and twisting, exposing everything they thought they knew. Heartbeats thundered in the silence. Henry's mind swirled with confusion, betrayal, fear, family. What else had they been blind to? Maya, we must go! Now! Emma urged, urgency snapping in her tone. But the shadows were lurking, closing in. Then, from the wreckage, the figure in the coat stood, blood dripping from his temple, and fixed his gaze on Lucia with a chilling smirk. You think you can hide forever? And in that moment, as Maya reached out to grasp at the fraying edges of her truth, the ground opened beneath them. A rift in everything. Secrets lay unfurling, and a new darkness beckoned, heavy with despair and uncertainty. What had sparked into life? What truth would they now have to confront? The storm had only begun, and there was no telling how far it would carry them. The figure in the coat staggered back, eyes wide with shock, blood dripping from his temple. The crowd had fallen silent, watching in disbelief. Maya took a step back, fear creeping into her voice as she clutched Emma's arm. "What did you do to him?" she gasped, every muscle in her body tensed. Lucia moved forward, her expression serious. "We don't have time for this. Maya, listen to me. They're coming for all of us." Truth hung in the air, heavy, suffocating. But before anyone could respond, the man in the coat straightened, a sinister smile creeping back across his face. "You think this is over?" "Hardly." And then, just like that, the scene shifted again. A sudden rumble echoed from the street, a sound that made the ground shake beneath them. Everyone tensed. What was happening now? The armored SUV that had been parked nearby swung its doors open again, spitting agents onto the scene. Like a machine unleashed, they fanned out with weapons drawn, advancing steadily toward the group. "Maya, now!" Emma shouted, trying to pull her sister away. But a hand gripped Maya's shoulder. "Your father," the man in the coat spoke, voice low and taunting, "wants you back, and he'll stop at nothing to get you." "Let her go!" Henry stepped in front of Maya, fists balled, heart racing. But his bravado felt tiny in the face of this chaos. Then came a crashing noise, an explosion from behind the crowd. Fire erupted, flames licking at the air, sending people screaming in all directions. Smoke billowed, thick and blinding. "Oh God!" someone cried. More panic surged through the crowd, pushing everyone toward the alley, seeking refuge. Maya stumbled, tearing her gaze away from the chaos. "What's happening?" Her heart raced, confusion colliding with worry. "It's a trap," Emma screamed, pulling her closer. "We have to leave, now." But just as they turned to flee, truth shattered their fragile hope. In the thick of the smoke, the hooded figure revealed their true face. Maya's long-lost father, standing there with a gleam of victory in his eyes. "Maya, my daughter," he boomed, voice booming like thunder. "Finally, we meet!" Gasps echoed through the crowd, rippling shock like a wave. The man was not just chasing them. He was family, the very source of their pain. "No, no, this can't be!" Maya gasped, her heart breaking. The ground seemed to sway beneath her. "You've been searching for me all this time?" His smirk deepened. Of course, you're the key to everything. Confusion gripped Henry's chest. What do you mean? He shouted, an edge of fury snapping into his tone. Maya stepped back, dread pooling in her stomach. You don't know anything about me, about him! Flames licked closer, and yet something in Maya flickered. The memories she had locked away, the truth of who she was and where she came from, surged forward like a tidal wave. She felt the weight of her father's legacy pressing in. Trust my words, he urged, eyes gleaming with a desperate intensity. You are meant for so much more than you understand. His legacy, it's your future. Maya's breath hitched, every memory crashing against her mind. What if it were true? What if everything she fought against had been her only hope? But then, a piercing scream tore through the smoke. A woman darted from the shadows, a small child in her arms. Run! She cried, terror-stricken, just as an explosion rocked the street again. Before anyone could react, the shockwaves rippled through the chaos, and the crowd dissolved into panic. Every man and woman suddenly running, pushing to get away. Maya! Emma yelled, her face pale and drawn. We need to go! Don't let him take you! Maya hesitated, torn between the lure of the unknown and the safety of those she loved. But as her father's shadow loomed larger, an unseen force took hold. Everything she had fought for collided with a dark truth she couldn't escape. And just then, the figure in the coat lunged forward again, reaching toward Maya, only for a flicker of recognition to pulse through her. No, she shouted, the weight of her choices pressing heavy. And at that pivotal moment, a spark ignited within her, igniting something deep and hidden. Would she fight for her past or forge her own future? Suddenly, the world around her spun faster than ever before, and she'd braced herself for the consequences, uncertain of the path that lay ahead, but ready to confront whatever came next. Maya stood frozen, her breath shallow and unsteady. The shadows pressed in around her, uncertainty curling like smoke. Emma's eyes flashed with urgency as the echoes of chaos began to fade. Maya, we need to move! But the crush of truth felt like a lead weight pulling her under. Not until I understand. Maya shot back, the fire in her voice clashing with the trembling fear in her heart. She glanced at Henry, who looked on, wide-eyed and desperately trying to piece together this puzzle, shock etched on his face. Emma, why are you here? Maya whispered, her voice trembling, confusion overlapping with anger. Because I thought I lost you, Emma's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. But you need to trust me now. He's not just your father. He's part of something bigger, a syndicate, and they'll stop at nothing to control you. Maya's heart pounded against her ribs. She wanted to scream, to dismiss the entire situation as madness. But before she could respond, the figure in the coat lunged, trying to snatch the device from the ground. Laughter thick with malevolence. Fighting destiny is futile, Maya. Get away from her, Henry shouted, stepping forward. But the man was quick, twisting to face Emma, a new target now. And you think you can protect her? His voice dripped with mockery. At that moment, the air thickened as if the city held its breath. Gunfire erupted again, sharp reports ripping through the din, and the crowd recoiled in panic. A figure darted from the alleyway, colliding with the man in the coat, sending them both tumbling to the ground. It was a tall man, clad in dark clothing, moving with ferocity, gliding like a shadow. "Get out of here!" he yelled to Maya and Emma, fists clenched. "I'll hold them off." As confusion swirled, Henry felt dread creeping up his spine. Who was this man? Was he friend or foe? But there was no time to ponder. More agents spilled out of the van, glaring with cold intensity, weapons drawn. "Stay back!" one shouted, crowding in like a storm, eyes darting across faces, looking for Maya. Each movement felt like a heartbeat echoing through an inescapable void. "Maya!" "Now!" Emma urged, trying to pull her sister away, but a hand gripped Maya's shoulder. "Your father," the man in the coat spoke, voice low and taunting, "wants you back, and he'll stop at nothing to get you." "Let her go!" Henry stepped in front of Maya, fists balled, heart racing, but his bravado felt tiny in the face of this chaos. Then came a crashing noise, an explosion from behind the crowd. Fire erupted, flames licking at the air, sending people screaming in all directions. Smoke billowed, thick and blinding. "Oh God!" someone cried. More panic surged through the crowd, pushing everyone toward the alley, seeking refuge. Maya stumbled, tearing her gaze away from the chaos. "What's happening?" Her heart raced, confusion colliding with worry. "It's a trap!" Emma screamed, pulling her closer. "We have to leave, now!" But just as they turned to flee, truth shattered their fragile hope. In the thick of the smoke, the hooded figure revealed their true face. Maya's long-lost father, standing there with a gleam of victory in his eyes. "Maya, my daughter," he boomed, voice booming like thunder. "Finally, we meet," gasps echoed through the crowd, rippling shock like a wave. The man was not just chasing them, he was family, the very source of their pain. "No, no, this can't be," Maya gasped, her heart breaking. The ground seemed to sway beneath her. "You've been searching for me all this time?" His smirk deepened. "Of course! You're the key to everything!" Confusion gripped Henry's chest. "What do you mean?" he shouted, an edge of fury snapping into his tone. Maya stepped back, dread pooling in her stomach. "You don't know anything about me! About him!" Flames licked closer, and yet something in Maya flickered. The memories she had locked away, the truth of who she was and where she came from, surged forward like a tidal wave. She felt the weight of her father's legacy pressing in. "Trust my words," he urged, eyes gleaming with a desperate intensity. "You are meant for so much more than you understand." His legacy. It's your future. Maya's breath hitched, every memory crashing against her mind. What if it were true? What if everything she fought against had been her only hope? But then, a piercing scream tore through the smoke. A woman darted from the shadows, a small child in her arms. "Run!" she cried, terror-stricken, just as an explosion rocked the street again. Before anyone could react, the shockwaves rippled through the chaos, and the crowd dissolved into panic. Every man and woman suddenly running, pushing to get away. "Maya!" Emma yelled, her face pale and drawn. "We need to go! Don't let him take you!" Maya hesitated, torn between the lure of the unknown and the safety of those she loved. But as her father's shadow loomed larger, An unseen force took hold. Everything she had fought for collided with a dark truth she couldn't escape. But just then, a startling transformation occurred. The flames flickered dangerously close, illuminating a dark figure crouched behind a dumpster. Suddenly, the dumpster exploded outward, sending debris flying. A wave of heat washed over everyone, and time froze for a heartbeat. Then came the inevitable moment of revelation. Emerging from the chaos, intertwined with flames and smoke, was a tall woman. Her hair danced like wildfire, and her eyes gleamed with an ethereal glow. "Maya!" she shouted, voice reverberating like a thunderclap. "I've come to liberate you!" Maya's breath caught in her throat. She recognized her, the ghost from her past, the mother she thought had been lost. "Mom, is it really you?" But just as Maya reached out, the woman's true form flickered, distorting in a blinding flash. The figure wavered for an instant, and then everything changed. The woman morphed into the figure in the coat. Laughter cascading from their lips. "Oh, dear Maya, you've known nothing of your true heritage. Your mother? Just another pawn in the game." Maya staggered back, heart racing. Everything she believed crumbled around her, and her world tipped into darkness. "Maya!" Henry yelled, panic rising in his voice. But the damage was done. As the flames engulfed the alley, the truth revealed a curse, a destiny bound in shadows. And in that moment, as the chaos crescendoed around her, Maya understood the depths of deception. The stakes were higher than she ever imagined, and she had to decide, embrace her fractured legacy or shatter the chains binding her to a past that wanted to consume her entirely. The crowd screamed, smoke thickening as she fought to find her path forward. In the chaos of flames and fear, a new mystery loomed. Who would she ultimately become in a world torn asunder? The flames roared louder, crackling and snapping as chaos erupted around them. Maya stood at the center of it all, heart racing, every instinct screaming for action. She glanced at Emma, who was wide-eyed with fear, and then at Henry, whose expression mirrored her own confusion and determination. "Maya!" Henry shouted, his voice breaking through the chaos. "You can't let him control you!" Time seemed to slow as she took in the moment, every detail sharp and raw. Fear coiled tightly in her chest. The figure in the "No, not anymore," she declared, arms steadying at her sides. "I choose my own fate." The words broke free from her lips, filled with a strength she hadn't known she possessed. The man's smirk faltered, confusion dancing across his face. "You think you can defy your destiny?" "Yes," Maya shouted, the fire of determination burning brighter. "I may be part of your legacy, but I am not your pawn." Suddenly, Emma surged forward, wrapping her arm around Maya's shoulders. "Together!" she yelled, and suddenly Maya felt every bit of that unity born anew. As the agents closed in, a roar erupted from behind them. The truck had turned, creating a wall of protective metal. Henry nodded at them, his eyes alive with possibility. "Let's go! We'll find a way out." Naya and Emma dashed toward the opening, heart racing, feet pounding against the ground. The world around them blurred into chaos. Their only focus was escape. Gunfire peppered the pavement behind them, but somehow they moved as one, fear turning into sheer adrenaline. Then came the explosion. deafening blast rocked the truck, sending flames spiraling into the air, sending debris flying in all directions. Maya flinched, but Emma pulled her closer, shielding her from the blast. A rush of heat enveloped them, and at that moment, everything went still. When the dust settled, they burst through the alley, hearts thundering. "Did we make it?" Henry gasped, eyes wide as the people outside the chaos gaped in disbelief. "Yes," Maya replied breathlessly, a glimmer of hope threading through her. She turned back to the alley, where the dust was beginning to clear. The figure in the coat emerged, but he seemed less sure now. Desperation creeping into his eyes. "I'll find you," he muttered, then vanished into the shadows, swallowed by flames. Maya took a deep breath, looking at Emma and Henry, relief flooding through her like a wave. They were alive, together, but her heart still ached. Would this ever truly end? Just then, Emma gripped her shoulder, eyes shining with determination. "What's next? We need to face him." Maya nodded. This battle wasn't over, but now she stood not just as the artist in the shadows. She was the fire of her own story, and she would shape the future on her terms. As the city skyline loomed ahead, a sense of purpose ignited within her. There were still secrets to unravel, a legacy to reclaim, and a world to change. Maya turned to the two most important people beside her, feeling the weight of all their journeys. "Ready?" she asked, heart pounding with anticipation. "Always," Emma smiled, warmth radiating from her, and Henry nodded, conviction settling in his gaze. They stepped into the dawn together, ready to confront whatever lay ahead. But just as they breathed in the air, a siren echoed behind them. The future flashed uncertain. "Let's move," Maya urged, leading the way into the unknown, ready to paint their story anew. And that's where we leave them. In the heart of a city pulsing with possibility, where tales of struggle and strength intertwine. But before you move on, this is the moment to show your support. You must subscribe to the channel now, so you don't miss out on upcoming exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and help us grow. Flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about this finale. Your voice matters. And don't wait 1 second longer to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this ending. Only true.